In this video, we'll be looking at question 1.1 from 5CO03. You should have read the scenario and know that this question is asking you to approach what it means to be a people professional and how you can contribute in your specific role within the organization. Just to be clear, this guidance shows you the methodology and approach, but you're responsible for the actual content, research, and conclusions. You'll need to do your own analysis and make sure your work fits the case study. With that said, let's walk through how to approach this step by step. First, take a close look at the question. Spot the command verb. Here it's appraise. That means you're not just describing, you're being asked to critically evaluate and make informed judgments. So don't just list features or facts. Instead, dig deeper. The question's asking about what it means to be a people professional and how you, in your HR or L&D role, can make a difference for the organization described in the scenario. Look out for key terms like professional behaviors, people professional, and contribute. These clues tell you that your answer should analyze professional standards, values, and the real impact you can have. Focus your analysis on your specific role and the organizational context. Don't go off into generic territory. Make sure you keep linking everything back to the needs in the case study. All right, now, when it comes to making judgments, don't just describe what professional behaviors are or what frameworks exist. Instead, think about how these frameworks and behaviors actually matter in the scenario. For example, if the case study mentions inconsistent management or a lack of procedures, you could consider how adopting professional standards might address those issues or help keep staff on board. Use evaluative language. Say things like, "This approach is highly effective in promoting fairness," or "This strategy could be limited by a lack of management experience." That shows you're thinking critically, not just repeating theory. Ask yourself which professional values are most needed in the scenario and explain why you think so. Next, let's talk about planning your answer. Aim for around 400 words. Start with a quick introduction, maybe 30 words or so, explaining why professionalism in people practice matters for the organization, especially considering the challenges they're facing. After that, structure your main analysis into 2 or 3 sections. Here's one way to do it. First, define what it means to be a people professional. You could look at relevant frameworks, like the CIPD profession map, and explain what's involved in being a people professional. Second, talk about the key values and behaviors, things like fairness, integrity, and evidence-based practice. Link these directly to the scenario. For example, if the case study mentions some employees don't have the same access to learning and development, talk about how fairness and inclusivity come into play. Third, explore how someone in your HR or L&D role can actually put these professional standards into action. What are the practical steps you could take? And what kind of impact would you expect on things like systems, processes, and workplace culture? Wrap up with a concise overall judgment, maybe 30 words, about how professional behaviors support the organization's development. Make sure every paragraph makes a clear analytical point, uses some evidence from theory or from the scenario, and always links back to the question. Now, let's talk about using the assessment criteria as your guide. Treat the assessment criteria like a checklist. Make sure you cover what it means to be a people professional. Define it, talk about frameworks, and discuss values. You should show how you'd apply professional and ethical behaviors, like integrity, fairness, and inclusivity in the scenario. Take a look at frameworks such as the CIPD profession map and show how they're relevant. Prioritize the elements that matter most for the situation described in the scenario, and make sure your answer touches on each part of the criteria, showing exactly how your approach lines up with professional standards. When it comes to sources and referencing, aim to pick 2 or 3 high-quality academic or professional sources that back up your main points. Focus on sources that talk about professional standards, ethics, or the CIPD profession map. Paraphrase what they say and reference them using the Harvard style. Make sure every reference actually supports a key analytical point. Alright, now connecting theory to the scenario is crucial. Don't just mention frameworks or theories, show how they fit the specific case study. For example, if the scenario highlights a lack of standard management practices, explain how upholding professional standards could help. Use details from the scenario, maybe it's management inconsistencies or employee complaints, to show the real-world impact of professional behaviours. Always explain how theory underpins your proposed contributions. If you're aiming for high marks, depth is more important than breadth. So, pick the frameworks and values that are most relevant to the question and analyse them in detail. Use sources and evidence from the scenario to build strong logical arguments. Don't shy away from the complexities of introducing professional standards in a growing organisation. Offer judgments that are insightful and grounded in both theory and the context of the case study. And finally, write clearly and concisely. Be selective and precise with your language. Make sure every sentence adds value and directly answers the question. Structure your paragraphs so each one makes a single, clear point. Cut out any unnecessary words. Review your writing for clarity and flow, and aim for maximum impact within your word limit. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out the other videos in this series for more tips on tackling your assessments.